Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Welcome to a new session of your social science children. Today we are going to see a new lesson in your history, and it is all about the first empire. Okay, so let us see what it is all about. So first, we all know that by the 6th century there were 16 Mahajanapadas, yes, and though they were 16 in number, there was no unity among them. Okay, so they were constantly fighting between one another for their power. So that made easy for the outsiders to invade India. So it was very easy for the other country people to easily enter into our country. So one of the main groups that tried to establish their power in India was, the first and foremost group was the Greeks, and that was headed by Alexander Macedonia, Alexander the Great. Okay, so Alexander was the head of this Greek group, and they tried to establish their power first. Here you could see a statue of Alexander. So first we are going to see about Alexander the Great. Yes, who was he and from where did he come? All these things we are going to see. So here you could see Macedonia, yes, a small place, and he belonged to that place, and he had occupied all these places across the world. Yes, he was easily able to occupy all this. So in this map you could see the Alexander's route that started from here. He came, occupied Egypt, he went through Mesopotamia, Assyria, then here you could see Media, Persis, Ariana, Bactria, Sogdiana. All these places were easily occupied by Alexander the Great. Okay, so here India is there. They almost occupied up to this Pakistan, right? And what happened when they came to India? That is what we are going to see first. Okay, so Alexander ruled from 356 BCE to 323 BCE, and he was the ruler of Macedonia in Greece. So his dream, what was the dream of Alexander? It was to establish his world empire, which means he wanted the entire world to be under his control. And he defeated the Persian Empire, which was the largest empire then, and then he turned towards India. Okay, so while he was expanding his kingdom, okay, so he attacked Persia, which was the biggest empire by that time, and he won over that battle, and then he started to turn back to India. So at that time he attacked and conquered many places to the northwest of the modern day India, that is to the present India, which we see it in the map. Okay, so he attacked many places which were to the northwest part of this India, and he wanted to conquer India. He also wanted to conquer India. But what happened? His soldiers were very tired after all these wars and many battles all together. The soldiers were very tired. So all of them wanted to travel back to their place. Okay, they did not want to travel further on battles, so they wanted to move back to their places. So what happened? Alexander was forced to turn back from the river Beas in 326 BCE. So he had to return back up to river Beas he occupied, and from there he had to return back to his place. And he left behind some Greek officers in charge of the territories he had conquered. So what he did, wherever the places he have already conquered, he appointed someone as in charge of that place. As he could not stay in this place, he had to move back to his own place. So what he did, he appointed some officers who were in charge of those particular places. Okay, so we will be seeing about who was the officer in charge when it came to India. And now Alexander never conquered India, and his attempt to do so had a great impact on the Indian subcontinent. So Alexander actually, he did not occupy or he did not fight any war against India, but he just tried to do that. Yes, that itself created a very big impact in India. Okay, so many many rulers So here you could see the attempts had weakened the states that lay along the northwest. So many states which were on the northwestern part of India, they started to become weak. Knowing about Alexander, his power, his army's power, they started becoming weak. Okay, so at that time what happened? The Mahajanapadas became weak, and that paved way for establishment of the Mauryan Empire. So now the first empire of our country is Mauryan Empire, right? So when Alexander did not even attack any part of India, just his trial or his attempt to attack our country itself has weakened the kingdoms. So because of that, what happened? It became easier for this Mauryan Empire to start over with our country. Okay, so first we are going to see about the Mauryan Empire, right? Yes. So the rulers of this Mauryan dynasty were the first empire in India. So they created the first empire in India. These Mauryan rulers created first empire, and they conquered and unified the different Mahajanapadas, and thus became the first empire in India. So they conquered all these Janapadas, Mahajanapadas, and they made it together. 16, we have seen that 16 Mahajanapadas were the biggest and the most powerful places of the country, right? So they conquered and unified. Unifying means combining together. Okay, they made it as one. All the different Mahajanapadas were made as one, and thus it became the first empire in India. And after that, empire. What is meant by empire? Empire is a kingdom, but which is spread over a very vast, very big area, and many officials helping the emperor to govern it. That is what we call it as empire. Okay, so empire is different from kingdom. Kingdom is a normal kingdom where a king rules, but empire is a place, it is again a kingdom, but which is very vast, which is very big in area, and also many officials help the emperor in governing the empire. So emperor is the person who is the head of empire. Head of the empire is emperor. Okay, right. Now, at its great extent, the Mauryan Empire stretched from the Himalayas in the north up to Kanchipuram in the south, and from Assam in the east to Afghanistan in the west. So how far it has spread? Himalayas in the north up to Kanchipuram in the south, Assam in the east, and Afghanistan in the west. So up to this stretch, this Mauryan Empire was spread. Okay, so now here you could see in this map, here up to this Assam, yes, from Assam to Afghanistan here, and here from Himalayas up to Kanchipuram, this was spread. Okay, now these Mauryans, they ruled from 321 to 185 BCE. Okay, so for most of this period, their capital was Pataliputra. Pataliputra is called as Patna today. Okay, so which is located in Bihar. So this was their capital. Pataliputra was usually the capital, and they ruled from 321 to 185 BCE. And how have we got to know about this Mauryan Empire? We have many literary works from here also. Okay, so as we have seen about the Vedic literatures of the Vedic civilization, the same way for this Mauryan Empire, we have Arthashastra written by Chanakya and Megasthenes Indica and Ashokan inscriptions and coins. So Megasthenes, who was Megasthenes? He was the Greek ambassador. Greek ambassador who visited India. So, ambassador is a person, okay, who is of a higher rank, okay, like a minister, okay. Nowadays we say minister is the biggest position in a political system, right? The same way, ambassador was a very important person in a kingdom. So, the king will send that person to other countries, okay, to enter into any agreements or any trade activities, whatever they want to do with other countries for a peaceful arrangement. The king will send this person to other country. So, like that, Greek ambassador Megasthenes came to India, right? So, about the Mauryan Empire, we are getting to know from Indica, written by Megasthenes, Arthashastra, written by Chanakya, and the inscriptions and coins of the King Ashoka, right? So, now we will see about Chandragupta Maurya, right? So, he was the founder of Maurya dynasty. So, the first ruler of Mauryan dynasty, Chandragupta Maurya, 321 to 297 BCE, and he was the first ruler, and he overthrew mighty Nandas who were ruling Magadha at this point of time. Hope you remember this while we were seeing about the Mahajanapada lesson, and when we were seeing about Magadhas, we have seen about Ajatashatru, and after that many dynasties came in rule, and in that we have seen these Nandas. So, after when Nandas were ruling, okay, Nandas were ruling, Chandragupta Maurya entered and he overthrew them, right? And with the help of an important minister of Nanda's court named Chanakya or Kautilya. So, Chanakya was the minister in Nanda's court. Okay, from there he helped Chandragupta Maurya, and Chandragupta Maurya threw away these Nandas from Magadha and he captured the place. So, Magadha was a very mighty empire, very powerful empire by then, and it was easily won by Chandragupta Maurya. And after becoming emperor, Chandragupta marched westwards towards present-day Pakistan and Afghanistan. So, he first captured this Magadha, right? And from Magadha, what did he do? He marched towards west side, Pakistan and Afghanistan today. And there he defeated Seleucus Nicator, the Greek governor left behind by Alexander. Okay, so there he fought against this Seleucus Nicator, who was the Greek governor left behind by Alexander. Some time back we have seen that Alexander, wherever he had captured the territories, he appointed his Greek officials in charge, right? So, Seleucus Nicator was one of such officials, and so he defeated, Chandragupta Maurya defeated Seleucus Nicator, and he captured these places, right? Now, Chandragupta Maurya entered into peace treaty with Seleucus and married his daughter. So, he entered into peace treaty. Peace treaty means getting into a compromise agreement, okay? So, it is like, I will not come and fight against you, you need not come and fight against me, let us be in a good relationship. So, some other war comes, we will fight together against them. So, that is a peace treaty, okay? So, it is just a compromise arrangement. Okay, peace treaty is nothing but compromise arrangement. So, he entered into this compromise arrangement with this Seleucus and he married his daughter. Okay, and then he extended his territories to Kabul and parts of Persia. So, after this marriage, his territories extended. Okay, it was extended to Kabul, which is in Pakistan, and Persia. Some parts of Persia also came under the control of Chandragupta Maurya. After that, Seleucus sent Megasthenes as an ambassador to the court of Chandragupta Maurya. So, Seleucus has sent this Megasthenes. Okay, so Megasthenes came to India while he was being sent by Seleucus. So, he came to the court of Chandragupta Maurya as an ambassador. After that, Megasthenes wrote the book Indica, a rich source of information on social life of people in Mauryan Empire. So, from this book we are able to know very much about the social life, how the people lived, what are all the economic activities, trade activities, religious activities, whatever, all the business activities, the occupation of people, all these things we get to know from this Indica. Okay. Then he extended his kingdom in the south beyond the Vindhya mountains until the Deccan. So up to the Deccan region on the southern part. So in west we have seen he has extended up to some parts of Persia and in Kabul. Then when he started traveling towards the south, where he captured up to the Vindhya mountains, and then he came up to the part of Deccan. And about his capture, about his expedition towards the south, okay, it is given in the Tamil literary works Agananuru and Purananuru. Okay, so the Tamil works Agananuru and Purananuru talk about his southern conquest, okay, how he came to southern part of our country. That is what is given in this book also. And in his later years, so after capturing many places, at a point of time, okay, he started to follow Jainism, okay, and then he left his throne and led a life of wandering ascetic. Okay, so he left his throne. I don't want kingdom anymore. I don't want to go for any fights anymore, any wars. No. So he wanted to become an wandering ascetic. We call them as sannyasi in Tamil. Okay. So he believed to have breathed his last in Shravanabelagola in present day Karnataka, and he was succeeded by his son Bindusara. Okay, so he is believed to be died in Shravanabelagola in Karnataka, and after him came his son Bindusara. Okay, so now let us see about Bindusara. Okay, so Bindusara is Chandragupta Maurya's son, and he is the father of the great king Ashoka. Okay, so that is what is given in Hindi here. Chandragupta ke putra or Ashoka ke pita Bindusara ka Jeevan Parichay. We are just going to see the introduction about Bindusara in this lesson. So he is believed to be on rule from 297 to 273 BCE. Hope you remember this word Sarka. Sarka is the term used where we do not know the exact period of the event. Okay, so it is just an approximate count. So Bindusara came to throne around 297 BCE after his father's death, and Chanakya continued to advise and guide the new king. So Chanakya was a very important minister in all these periods, because he was very much clear in his ideologies on the political environment, all the affairs of politics. So only even today Arthashastra is believed to be a very good guide on the political things. Okay, so now Bindusara extended his empire further in south up to Mysore, which is in present day Karnataka. So already Chandragupta Maurya has reached the Deccan part, and from there Bindusara expanded his kingdom up to this Mysore, and he was succeeded by his son Ashoka. Right? So let us see about Ashoka the Great. So he was one of the greatest emperors of ancient India. He has always been a remarkable ruler. Okay, so his period is from circa 273 to 232 BCE. When he ascended the throne in 273 BCE, ascended means coming after. Okay, so after his father, he took over the position of the throne, and he set out to expand his territories as his father and grandfather. So when he came to be the ruler, okay, he also wanted to expand his kingdom as his grandfather Chandragupta Maurya did. The same way his father Bindusara did, Ashoka also wanted to do the same. So he captured territories in the Ganga Yamuna valley and in the southern and eastern India. Okay, so he started capturing more places around this Ganga Yamuna valley, and then he started expanding his kingdom towards the eastern part of India and also in the southern part of India. So Bindusara has already extended his kingdom up to Mysore, and now what happened? Ashoka, he stretched it up to Kanchipuram. During the period of Ashoka, his empire extended from Kabul to Kanchipuram. Okay, so there was only one small kingdom which was against this Ashoka, which means they continued to resist his army. Okay, so Ashoka's army was continuously resisted. Resisted means opposed or fought against. Okay, so that was continued to be resisted by only one place, which was called as Kalinga, and that Kalinga is called as Odisha today. Okay, so here Ashoka, what he did, after being continuously resisted by this Kalinga, Ashoka sent a message asking the ruler of Kalinga to surrender to him. Okay, Ashoka sent a message to the ruler of Kalinga to surrender. And what this Kalinga ruler did, he refused. He said, no, I cannot surrender. So after that, what happened? Ashoka led his army to battle against Kalinga. So after this, Ashoka led his army. Ashoka took his army towards this Kalinga, and they started to fight against this Kalinga, right? So with this, we are ending up with the first session. We will be seeing about Kalinga War and more about Ashoka in our next session. Thank you. To receive our online lessons, please press the subscribe button and you will receive the latest updates. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha.